Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning. Welcome to Up with KREM. It is 6 a.m. now. I'm Nicole Hernandez. We want to start off this week by getting a look at weather. We've got Regan Gallo in for meteorologist Thomas Patrick. And Regan, you've been talking about this false fall. What is going on here?
It is a false fall. Yesterday, it really rained hard in some regions of the inland northwest, and we're going to see a little bit of those showers linger this morning, but then it's going to dry up this afternoon, and we're going to hit those mid to upper 60s and 70 in some areas. So right now, 53 in Spokane, 83% relative humidity because we have that stickiness and that moisture still sticking around. But our highs today, like I said, we're going to see 68 in Spokane, 71 in Colville, and down south 71 in Lewiston as well. So it does warm up. We are going to be seeing those mid to upper 80s tomorrow. However, if you are a fall lover, I say savor it this morning because it's going away and it's not coming back till next week.
Thank you, Regan. Let's take a live look at traffic now at I-90 in Medical Lake. Not much happening there on I-90, not just here, but across all of the highway as well. I'm looking at our traffic maps and we're really not seeing any backups or traffic to speak of yet. It's still early though, so if that changes, we'll let you know here on Up with KREM. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson says a proposed federal budget could cut health care from 80,000 people in the state and risk a government shutdown. Democratic Washington leaders say the proposed bill is, quote, morally bankrupt. If it takes effect in January, it could force rural hospitals to close, drive up insurance rates, and cut off coverage for thousands of Washingtonians.
It's been described as the largest transfer of wealth in the history of our entire country. I would say, as a person of faith, that disgusts me. That is upside down. That is wrong.
The Washington State Republican Party chair says Democrats do not have the cards to force a shutdown. Spokane City Council is voting tonight to create a new 911 dispatch system. You might remember the Spokane Regional Emergency Communications Center decided to stop servicing the city of Spokane earlier this summer. Shrek told the city they would need their own dispatch system by the new year, but the city said that was an unreasonable timeline. Shrek said, though, they are making this change because the city opted out of their new computer-aided dispatch system. Now, the city is working to fund and organize Spokane United 911. At the council meeting tonight, council members will vote on officially establishing this new network. Tracking wildfires now, crews have the Crown Creek and Black Hawk Mountain fire in Stevens County 30% contained now. That fire burned about 14,000 acres combined. There are still level 1, 2, and 3 evacuations in place in that area. The emergency shelter at the American Legion in Kettle Falls is still open. The rattlesnake fire in Ferry and Lincoln counties grew just a bit to almost 22,000 acres. Good news, though, crews reached 85% containment. There are still level 1 and 2 evacuations in the area, and the evacuation center at the Inchelium Community Center is still open. And the Tacoma Creek fire in Stevens and Pend Oreille County has burned almost 4,000 acres. It is now 31% contained. There are no evacuation orders at this point, but roads and trails in the area are closed. Almost 80% of the Northwest is in an extreme to exceptional drought this summer. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says this particular drought has been developing for the past few years. Below normal snowpack, lower rainfall, and above normal temperatures have been making it worse. Since 2020, there's only been 1 year of normal precipitation. The rest have been near record lows for rainfall. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office bought a brand new sonar equipment, which will help them be more effective in search and recovery on the water. It cost $85,000, but almost half of that money came from a donation. The Mahogany Boater Education Association gave the Sheriff's Office $40,000. With the new technology, KCSO says they will be able to see the bottom of Lake Coeur d'Alene and the other waters now. It will help them be more accurate and faster when responding on the water. Also out in North Idaho this weekend, volunteers cut, stacked, and delivered 60 cords of firewood to seniors and families across the community. And this was part of the National Day of Service and Remembrance in honor of those lost in 9/11. The families that they delivered to often rely on wood like this as a heat source through the winter, so it's super important. Organizer and volunteer Julianne Dance says it was an opportunity to connect and give back to the community, saying, quote, "It takes all of us to help each other thrive." Security concerns are growing across the country in response to the killing of Charlie Kirk. National lawmakers are now advocating for increased security funding. CBS News' Willie James Inman has the latest details.
The White House is asking Congress for $58 million to protect Supreme Court justices and executive branch officials. Speaker Mike Johnson says lawmakers are also reevaluating their security in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death.
Yeah, well, I've been talking with a lot of them over the last few days about that and trying to calm the nerves, to assure them that we will make certain that everyone has the level of security that's necessary.
In its emergency request, the White House expressed support for increased security funding for lawmakers, but left it to Congress to work out details.
It's not just their personal safety, it is really declaring to the nation that we believe that these tasks are hard, that there should be intense debate, that we have very different perspectives.
Members of Congress have faced at least 14,000 threats this year alone. In a phone interview with NBC News this weekend, the president said, "I'd like to see it heal, but we're dealing with a radical left group of lunatics, and they don't play fair, and they never did." Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, whose wife, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, survived a shooting 14 years ago, says political violence is not a one-sided issue.
We are more divided than we have been probably in my lifetime or yours. And if we don't collectively try to come together to fix it, I think it can get worse.
President Trump.
Now, we're expecting the U.S. Federal Reserve to lower interest rates this week. This would be the first drop in rates since December. President Trump has repeatedly asked the Federal Reserve to cut rates. He asked for quarter-point cuts in September, October, and December. Economic analysts say American families are concerned about rising inflation and increased tariff rates right now. The Bureau of Labor Statistics' latest data says the annual inflation rate rose 2.9%. New over the weekend, the Trump administration suspended some funding for the AIDS relief program known as PEPFAR. That's according to international organizations and Congress. They say the cuts are already hurting patients and critical projects globally. PEPFAR is credited with saving more than 26 million lives over the past 20 years. USAID initially funded the program, but the Trump administration dismantled that earlier this year.
Well, good morning. If you're just tuning in with us at 6:08 this Monday morning, we kind of got a little teaser into fall. However, it is going to dry up and warm up this afternoon. We're going to be hitting those mid-60s. This morning, however, we're going to be seeing some lingering showers across the inland northwest. So still bring a rain jacket, an umbrella, whatever fits your fancy if you're going to be outside for this morning. However, it does start to dry up this afternoon, and then it's going to be warmer throughout the rest of the week. Now, I just want to show you our future tracker for that rain. Like I said, around the region right now, it is raining a little bit south of Spokane and in some pockets of northeast Washington. Rain is also going to stick around in the Sandpoint region as well. And then, as you can see, by 8:50 p.m. tonight, it totally dries off. So we're still going to have some hot temps for the rest of the week.
The Spokane Community College is one of 5 colleges that will get $80,000 to support aerospace students. Here's a list of all of those schools, each getting part of the $400,000 award. It will fund childcare assistance to help aerospace education students who are raising kids. Jennifer Dellinger on the state board says, quote, "Providing funds to support access to childcare is an important piece of ensuring access to education," end quote. The Society of Professional Engineering Employees in Aerospace says the funds will be distributed in 2026. Well, this is pretty cool here. Speaking of space, the Webb telescope captured some fireworks on the outskirts of the Milky Way galaxy. NASA scientists described this eruption as a, quote, volcanically growing monster star. They say there could be other massive stars like this one in the universe. Some of the scientists even compared what you're seeing right here to a double-bladed lightsaber show from Star Wars, which is kind of accurate.